Now, we've been learning about the word faith, and faith is trusting in what you can't see because of what you can see. For the past month, we've been learning from the book of Acts, and Acts pretty much tells a story of how the church grew so rapidly after the death and the resurrection of Jesus Christ. And so today, we're going to be unpacking Acts chapter 10. And in Acts chapter 10, we're introduced to this man named Cornelius. Now, here's a couple things that we know about this man. Number one, he was a commander in the Roman army. And number two, he wasn't Jewish. And number three, he and his family loved to worship God, and they loved to help anyone in need. One day, as he was praying to God, God sent an angel to Cornelius saying this: "Send men to Joppa. Have them bring back a man named Simon. He is also called Peter. He is staying with another Simon, a man who works with leather. His house is by the sea." So Cornelius called some of his men, and he told them exactly what happened in his vision. And so he sent them out to Joppa so that they could find this man, Peter. Around noon the very next day, Peter went up to the roof to pray. But here's the thing, Peter was so hungry and he wanted something to eat. And so as the meal was being prepared, Peter had this weird vision. So let me tell you what this vision was like. Heaven opened up, and all of a sudden this huge sheet came down from heaven, and it was filled with all different creatures and reptiles. And then all of a sudden, Peter heard this voice saying, "Peter, get up, kill, and eat." Then Peter replied, "No way, God. There's no way that I'm going to eat animals like that. They are impure and unclean, and I will never eat something like that." Then this voice spoke a second time saying, "Peter, don't call anything impure that God has made clean." We're vacuuming right now. Can you guys hear that? It's kind of loud, right? I'm going to have to wait a little bit.
2 hours later.
Okay, I had to switch to a different room, but hey, comment below if you know what room I'm in church. I'm sure you guys have never seen this room before. But if you want to know, this room is the... So where were we? So we're talking about the vision that Peter saw in the sky, right? With the sheet with all the animals. And so that vision occurred 3 times, and then all of a sudden the sheet went back up to heaven. So it's a pretty weird vision, right? So this is what we have to keep in mind. Jews were not allowed to eat any meat from any creatures that Peter saw on the sheet because they were considered unclean. So you can imagine how confused Peter was when God told him to eat all these animals that he was not technically supposed to eat from. So as Peter is trying to figure out what that vision meant, the men that was sent from Cornelius suddenly arrived to Peter, and they explained to him how Cornelius wanted Peter to go to his house in Caesarea so that he could listen to everything that Peter had to say. And at some point, Peter began to understand what that vision meant with the sheep and the animals. You see, it was forbidden for Jews to eat certain foods and certain animals, and it was also forbidden for Jews to enter into the house of a Gentile. So you might be wondering, what's a Gentile? A Gentile is a non-Jewish person. And so anyone that's not Jewish is considered a Gentile. So I'm Korean American, so I'm a Gentile. And this is what we have to remember. Back in the day, Jews and Gentiles, they didn't like each other. They actually hated one another because they were a different race. And this was what God was trying to teach Peter. He was trying to teach Peter that everything that Jesus has done, the reason why he died and he rose again, was not only for Jewish people, but it was for everyone, including the Gentiles. So Peter, he finally arrived at the house of Cornelius. And so Peter began to tell Cornelius and his entire family about what Jesus has done. And as Peter was explaining them the story of Jesus, as he was telling them the death and the resurrection and how, death couldn't hold him down, all of a sudden, the Holy Spirit came upon Cornelius and his entire family. And then Peter realized that, and so he got up and he baptized Cornelius and his entire family, even though that they weren't Jewish. And this is what Peter realized, and this is what he learned at that moment. He learned that the love of Jesus is for everyone. It's not reserved for one group of people. It's not just for the Jewish people, but when you believe in Jesus Christ, that should make us want to share the love of Jesus with everyone. And so it doesn't matter how old someone is or how young they are or what cultural background they're from. Everyone deserves to hear about the love of Jesus Christ. And so if there's anything that you remember today, this is our bottom line, and that's knowing Jesus changes the way that you see others. Okay, let's close with that memory verse, and it comes from Hebrews chapter 11, verse 1, and it says this: faith is being sure of what we hope for. It is being sure of what we do not see. And so with that said, Pastor Tim out. All right, let's see. What's there to eat in my fridge? Yeah, nothing again. Wait. Hold up. Wait. How did you guys end up in my fridge? Oh, right. Hand sanitizer. I forgot to wash my hands. Hold on. Okay, here we go. You know, always make sure to wash your hands so that you don't end up in weird places like my fridge, okay? All right, Pastor Tim out.